Now that I've got a scary looking head on this tiger, I'd like to extrude this whole tiger body, but before I do, I'm going to just do a few extra additional steps here. What I want to do is extrude the main body out. I'm going to extrude it probably 100 thou, but this background, his paw back here, I'd like to extrude it about 60 thousandths. So what I'm going to do is tell it sketch 3, pull this in a little ways, pull this in a little ways, make sure I have a nice tight looking paw. I'll close that up, and over here, let's try it without pulling. Maybe that'll. I'm going to close that open loop also. Doesn't have to be pretty. Okay, now let's have some fun with this guy. I think we've done all our preliminary work that we need to do here. Let's take sketch 2 and come up to extruded boss base. Let's extrude him up. Yeah, I like their suggestion of 100 thousandths. That's pretty good. So he's extruded out now 100 thousandths of an inch. So now I've got his head. Now let's extrude sketch 3. And I only want to extrude it about, not very much. If I extrude it very far, then I'm going to run into troubles later when I try to fillet this outside edge. So I've got it extruded. It's got some relief there. His rear leg is here. But it's definitely in the background. Now I'm going to grab this exterior and try to fillet that. I'm going to put in a 063 fillet, and it looks like it's going to do it. I think it'll do it as long as my this secondary extrusion down here doesn't get up into the fillet. If this gets up into the fillet, then we're going to have some problems, and it's not going to like to fillet it. There. So I've got my tiger with legs. Good time to save. What I'm going to do is insert a feature, and I'm going to go to the Freeform Features Manager. And what that lets me do is I'm going to select the face that I'm going to mess with. It puts this grid on here. And the grid is, you can change the grid settings to kind of, if you want to see it a little bit better. You can grab this arrow and tilt the grid so it lines up a little bit better with the axis of my tiger. And then we need to add curves. What I'm going to do is I'll just do a quick one here. Do you see this green line that's forming out on the, it's very, very light. I hope you're able to see it. I'm actually going to hit the tab button. That's this flip directions tab. If I hit that, now when I come out here, my green line is running across his body, kind of cross grain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this right in here on this back leg. Now I've got a control curve there, and I'm going to say add points to it. If I come out here, notice my cursor is you can't add points, then all of a sudden when I get on this curve it says, oh yeah, you can add points there. If I add a point there, what I'm doing is adding a push-pull point. And if I come over and click on add points again, I'm no longer adding. Now I can, when I wave it over this green dot and pull on it up this arrow, I'm actually pooching out his leg here. I've actually pulled on. If you pushed it in, it's just like pushing your finger into clay. You can depress areas or you can pull them up. And you even have the sliders working for you. I'm going to pull him up 80 thousandths of an inch. This one I think we can leave at 0. And I'm going to get in here and I'm going to actually tug on the arrowhead that's on the end of this. It's much like manipulating a spline, only it's control points for surfaces. Let's see what that did to it. By the way, when you start doing freeform surfaces, you really start burning up processor speed. Okay, it's done processing. Let's roll that around and see if we can see the result. Yeah, pooched that area up and stretched it actually across much of the rest of the body here. I'm going to change it brown and see if we can actually see it maybe a little bit better if it's some sort of chocolatey brown color. And it's pretty shiny. It's a little hard to tell. I think he needs some more freeform up here in his shoulders, maybe on his head, this front leg. So let's go into freeform and edit that. And I'm going to add some curves. I think another curve in here about by his belly. And then another curve up here, this shoulder area. Let's give him some real good shoulder development. Maybe a little something in his head area here. And possibly along his back. Okay, so I'm going to add some points in here. I'm going to pump up his rib cage a little bit and this shoulder. Probably his head a little bit, and I'm thinking this forearm we can grab at the same time. Be sure to click on add points. That says when I'm done adding points. Let's give him about 50 some and pump up his this lower bicep a little bit here. We'll come over and pull on his head a little bit. You can slide the ball along the line too. Let's pump up the shoulder a little bit here. Bit on his back. Well, maybe we'll leave his back sunken in. They have kind of a little hump back there. We'll give him some really good shoulder development down into his leg. A little warning here, you can spend hours pulling on these points, making everything look right, and you can get some amazing results. Okay, I'm going to agree to that, and let's see what happens. I'm going to turn off the tiger stripes just for clarity here. Whoops. I don't want to edit that. I just want to shut off visibility. There. Now to help me see these curves, I'm going to add in a display setting. So you go to View, Display, and I'm going to add zebra stripes to my tiger. Zebra stripes help me see these curves like this fillet. As I rotate him around, my zebra stripes move. It helps me see where my curves are sometimes. Another thing you can do is if you shut off zebra stripes and then turn on curvature, anything with a red is very curved, blue is not so much, black is completely flat. And wherever you move your mouse on here, you'll also get a curvature reading. A radius of curvature. The other thing I found that helps is turn it a little bit different color. So I'm going to get in here and go Color, Appearance. Let's give him a brown color. So now we have our chocolate tiger. I'll let you pump up his tail maybe a little bit, or it's really looking pretty good here. Don't get too carried away with the freeform tool. It will really burn up processor time. And I think we'll turn him into his own candy bar here. So let's open up a new sketch. This would work, but his tail will break off a lot. And let's do a rectangle. I believe I'll smart dimension him about 3.5. And I think let's try let's try a little less than 7. So 6.75. Yeah, 3.5's a little small. We better give us a little more room here. Let's 3.75. We've got a little room on his tail. The 6. Let's back that off to 6.5. Position it where you want it. A little room on his paw, a little room on his tail. His ears got good clearance, and his little toes down here are on the bar, so I think I like that. We'll get this point, and we'll say anchor that point. That will fix that point in space. Actually, I'm going to remove that. I'm going to tell it, let's make this a 0. Well, we put it at -1/4 inch, -0.25. Still got good clearances all the way around. Now we'll fix it. We've got dimensions that make sense and a location that makes sense. And I can take that sketch, extrude it in the other direction. If we extrude him 100,000ths of an inch. Let's make it nice thick chocolate, 1/8 inch. And we have our tiger chocolate bar with plenty of room for text. We'll try and come back later and put some stripes in. We may have to add stripes in before we do the mold compound. We'll have to see where this goes. But that is a good looking tiger. Time to save.